Hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whenever you're lucky enough indeed to be doing it too. I'm Bushka. You probably know that. Welcome back to the channel. It's great to have you with me here today. And this is another one of the most important skills in Blitz video, but this one is a little more ethereal, a little more esoteric than the usual. This is side scraping, this is, you know, gun depression, all that kind of stuff. And it may actually just be a little more of a hat tip to tactical gameplay than anything else. There is a real tendency in Blitz to find the path of least resistance and just repeat it again and again and again. And that's certainly the case with tanks like the WZ-113, where you know that what it does really, really well is do a lot of damage very, very fast and have a good turret. And it's got a very reasonable gun on it too. And if you're on a map like Oasis Palms, for instance, you may well be forgiven for just doing exactly what I'm doing here, going out to the flank and using your very strong upper glacis and your strong turret to output damage and win the game. That's fair enough. And this game is in fact a game where I believe that the, I mean, geez, that IS-8 and I, didn't we just have a horrible old hit point trade on each other? That was great fun. Man, the IS-8 just hit point trading our asses off. And that is kind of what happens a lot. We get into these ruts where we just take everyone into the same spot. And I mean, I don't really start playing this game seriously until round about now, when I've got 34 hit points left, 36 hit points left. And a big part of the reason that I'm just like, whatever, and I seem to be pretty nonchalant with this whole hit point trading business, is that I'm not really doing anything different. I'm playing by rote. I'm just charging the game up, pressing the start battle button, going to the same spots I've gone to thousands of times before on the same maps and doing exactly the same things. Now that's very, very normal. This happens all the time. Focus is hard to apply across a very, very wide, and I mean, if you've played for a long time, you really do struggle to focus. And you can see when I start putting the time in here and I start looking for the right targets and I start staying out of the line of fire and not hit point trading, suddenly it's a different tanker and we're doing very, very well. And we're up to 3.5k damage and everything's coming up Bushka. But what I'd like to suggest is that every once in a while, you try to actually think a little bit outside the circle. And particularly when I first started doing YouTube videos for a living, I was very, very experimental with the way I'd tank. And one of the things it does to you, if you start trying different things, is it really, and I'm not just saying drive down the middle of the map and, you know, get spotted and keep going through to spawn and be surprised when you die. What I'm talking about is actually looking for new positions on the map based on the current meta and outthinking the opponent and maybe doing something a little bit different. And I'm going to show you two very subtle examples of that in just a second. One of them is on this very map here, and it's no accident that I showed this game before I showed the next game. And they're both from the same spawn. What the general meta is on a map like Oasis Palms, and it's as, I mean, not to quote a Disney movie, but it's a tale as old as time. We are very much in a tier at 10 now where there is a tremendous amount of TDs. You can see there's generally 2 to 3 TDs in most games. In fact, this was a rarity where there was fewer TDs than normal, which was great for us. 4,800 damage, and I mean, we only really started playing after 2,500 of that. So you can see here straight away, there's a couple more TDs on the other team. There's a couple of TDs in the other team. There's a waffle and a 183. Now that's pretty standard. You get a lot of waffle tractors. People love the grill. And what you're going to see me do here is something very, very different to the last match. And this is taking the meta that the player base has grown accustomed to, specifically at tier 10, where people drive these big alpha TDs because they like to sit at the back and use the hit point pools of their teammates. and absolutely screwing them over with it. I know where there is likely to be a 183 on this map. He's going to be just over there. There you go. Spotted him. Happy freaking days. Good fun for him. That has now made him an absolute prime target. If he moves or sticks around there, he's going to get in trouble. And lo and behold, I've been hit for 515. I look at the tanks that are over there. That's got to be a waffle tractor. That has to be a waffle tractor firing a premium round. So I immediately tell my team, attention to sector 1, and then I'd say waffle tractor behind cap. Right? And I also tell him so that he thinks maybe I better move, right? Now I've moved to the middle of the map. This is so screwing the meta 101. Look at those guys who are camping at the back. Look at what this is doing to them. It is not going to be a big damage game, but we have that 183. You want to know how much damage the 183 did in that spot during this game? 0. 0. Absolutely 0. The waffle tractors moved to try to get shots at me. I've now basically screwed their entire team. They wanted to camp. The guys on their team did the right thing. They went out. They tried to push the flanks as normal and have their TDs overlook them, and the TDs just pour damage in, and, you know, everyone goes home a winner. You do something a little bit different, it just ruins standard gameplay. And there's a lot more opportunity for this. It doesn't have to be wildly different. It can just be a position that's not normally got a tank in it. How often do you go to this map and there's a tank in the middle of the map? It just doesn't happen very often because, for starters, it's quite a tough place. You've got to have a decent armor profile, and you've got to be able to angle your armor to very big TDs. And you've also got to be quite clever with the way you use the trees, the bushes, and the camo there to be successful. And that's all well and good. But it can be devastating to a team that is relying on everyone doing things the same way they've always done them before. Change is a great thing when no one else is doing it. When you get to change, I mean, there you go, nearly 3k damage. We didn't do a massive amount of spotting damage, 1671, 4 kills, 0 for their 183, 0 for their ST1. The waffle tractor got 515. That was the one shot he got into me. I knew it was a waffle. God damn it. And I'm going to show you one more match now. This isn't on Oasis Palms. This is an Object 268 on... okay. This Alpenstat mat, I actually have an issue with the spawns. And you've probably heard me on stream. The opposition spawn here is at a disadvantage. You can see that our mediums are able to push up there and get cover while actually going hull down at that very, very steep embankment next to the train cars. What I'm going to do here is change it up. I've seen where all our meds are, so I feel like I've got a lot of cover. I know they've got a 183 and a Foch. I've seen that there is a Foch over there somewhere. There's an E50M down here. And what I'm going to do is start fighting low and then go just under the bridge over there in a non-turreted TD. Then I'm going to work right through the middle of town and backdoor their heavies. Now again, this is not the stuff you expect on this map. People tend to really... Seriously? Like, whatever. People tend to really stick to their routes. We become creatures of habit, and you've got to break the habit. And it doesn't have to be in a massive manner. These are not things that you have to change by tremendous amounts. They are percentages. This is a great shot. Yeah. You might not realize this, but all that unscoped shooting is because I changed my buttons. And I couldn't find the buttons. Anyway, I digressed. And this is the case. This is what happens. This guy probably thinks I'm a muppet because I keep bouncing shots. And I'm like, yeah, you really shouldn't be pushing me. It doesn't have to be wild. I'm not talking about YOLOing in the first 30 seconds. I'm not talking about driving madly into the enemy spawn when only 3 tanks are spotted on the map. I'm talking about making very... I mean, watch this shot. If you don't know where your buttons are, yeah, just keep no-scoping people. Looks good. Looks good. I'm talking about making the minor adjustments to your gameplay style. And you can see, I know there's a 183 down there. I'm not really worried about him. I've got enough to take a shot from him. What I'm going to do is pincer these guys who are getting stuck into my heavies. And I'm going to use my hit point pool and my very, very good gun to give them a real hand. Clear 2 targets very quickly. I'm going to take one from the 183. That's fine. I'll eat that. You know what? Not only will I eat that, I'll eat a little bit of you too, buddy. Yeah, there's 1,000 into the back of a Foch. Poor old Moistion is going to get nerfed next patch, apparently. Why? I do not know. It's all a mystery to me. I'm Bushka. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it gives you some food for thought in your gameplay. You really do need to exercise a little bit of imagination and just change it up a teensy-wincy amount. It doesn't have to be a lot. Doesn't have to be nasty. Doesn't have to be crazy. It just has to be a little bit different. And you'll find that those different positions for your tank that you don't normally go to, those odd layouts that teams aren't expecting, can make all the difference in terms of winning and losing and having really, really good games. Nice work, IS7, by the way. Not letting him get around to put one into me. And I really like that. Look after yourself. Stay safe on the battlefield. There's a description below this video that has a link to my Discord server. Jump in that. Do your best. And until next time, bye for now.